However, when someone like Kyrie Irving, a world-famous basketball star with over 4 million Twitter followers, promotes these kinds of claims, they will gain a lot of attention. But did Kyrie actually believe what he was saying, or was he merely bullshitting? As a social scientist, I take Kyrie's claims very seriously. I don't take them seriously because I think Kyrie is correct. I know his claims make as much sense as arguing that the moon is made of cheese. I take them seriously because, as a researcher who studies bullshit, Kyrie's claims fit a pattern of behavior I see deployed over and over again. A belief in a flat Earth would make sense if there was genuine evidence of a worldwide conspiracy to fake decades of space exploration, a denial of many branches of science, or discoveries of new forces and laws of nature. But it doesn't really take any of this. All it takes is a mindset that completely disregards truth and genuine evidence. In other words, all it takes is bullshit. Kyrie encourages us to seek the truth by finding concrete information and doing some research. That is a classic bullshitter move. Ignore the overwhelming and convincing evidence by implying the real answer is not based on commonly accepted evidence or is actually unknown. Although I won't pretend to know what Kyrie meant by research. Had he actually approached the question of the Earth's shape scientifically, he would have determined that the answer is certainly not flat. If Kyrie wanted to approach this question scientifically, he might have taken a glance at readily available scientific evidence on the issue. Scientists love using this method of analysis because critically evaluating a bunch of studies is much easier, less costly and time-consuming than conducting their own experiments. There is well-documented evidence of the Earth's shadow on the moon when the Earth passes between the moon and the sun, i.e., lunar eclipse. The fact that sunrise and sunset do not happen at the same time all over the world, our perspective at sunset, the shapes of other planets, and the fact that worldwide space research programs have gathered massive collections of satellite images, all supporting the belief that the Earth is not flat. As a critical thinker, employing evidence-based methods of reasoning, I feel confident that the Earth is spherical. Why? Because multiple independent sources of inquiry converge with evidence on the same conclusion that the planet we live on is shaped much more like a basketball than a hockey puck. If historical records don't satisfy Earth-shaped skeptics like Kyrie, there is always value in experimental replication, an essential piece of the scientific method. One very simple demonstration was conducted over 2,000 years ago by the Greek scholar Eratosthenes. Eratosthenes determined the shape of the Earth by putting a stick in the ground and doing a bit of math. He was aware that in Syene, the sun was directly overhead on the first day of summer, June 21st, casting no shadows at noon. Eratosthenes was in Alexandria, nearly 500 miles north from Syene. He planted a stick directly in the ground in Alexandria and waited to see if a shadow would be cast at noon. Sure enough, the angle of the stick's shadow measured about 7 degrees. Now, if the sun's rays are coming in at the same angle at the same time of day, and a stick in Alexandria is casting a shadow while a stick in Syene is not, it must mean that the Earth's surface is curved. Of course, Earth-shaped skeptics could also try out Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan and Spaniard Juan Sebastian Elcano's route of circumnavigating the globe. Magellan and Elcano set sail from Seville on September 20th, 1519, sailed across the Atlantic, past the southern tip of South America, sailed into the Pacific and Indian Oceans around the southern tip of Africa, and returned to Seville on September 6th, 1522. If you don't have 3 years to circumnavigate the Earth, you might take Dick Rutan and Gina Yeager's route by air. They were the first to do so, which they completed in 9 days. In short, there are many routes to get to the same conclusion. Kyrie isn't alone in believing something that isn't true. Many people still believe you can see the Great Wall of China from the moon, despite the fact that Apollo astronauts